So let's go to step 4 then. So in your packet, you've got this paperclip packet. It's got one stapled page, and then it's got a couple of double-sided pages in there. So when you're talking about, what are we going to do for our recruitment, here are 4 ideas that we have that we've kind of been pushing over the last couple of years, right? Our first one in here, which is the stapled one, is our kind of traditional school night for scouting concept. Hold a sign-up night at the school. This is a template that just kind of walks you through how do we do that, right? What does that look like? The other ones in here are the ones that we've been doing over the last couple of years with COVID that units are still doing, I think are still appropriate and can still be used. We've got the hiking adventure, right? So meet at a park, inviting families to come out to that park and do a little hike, and it's got how do we sell scouting during that. We've got the service project one, which can be popular as well, meet at the school, do a little service project. And then we've got the park safari, which is also kind of a popular one as well. So those are just some ideas for your recruitment, right? We want everybody to look at the school night for scouting one because our goal is to, hold a recruitment at every school. As Jay said earlier, part of the plan is let's try and do 2 recruitments in the fall and a recruitment in the spring. All right, the goal is to try and help every pack be sustainable. Get enough kids in your program so that year after year, right, we don't have a den of 2 or 3, right, but we've recruited enough that year knowing that, over time, things move, things happen, right? And sometimes you gain a kid or 2 also, but we also lose some. If we can recruit enough lions and tigers each year, then that ebb and flow of the pack is okay, right? And the pack can stay sustainable. I know it was on the slide, I don't know if we mentioned it, but a goal that I've always kind of worked with with packs is your membership should be in lions and tigers. So your pack is X size, you should have 25% of it in lions and tigers. If you can hit that goal, then that pretty much helps keep you consistent and stable year after year if you're hitting that. Now, if your pack is under 20, right, then you should try to hit that, at least 5 in a den is a nice comfortable number, right? Doesn't feel too small, not too big. But when you're doing your inventory that Jay talked about earlier and talking about, well, what should our recruitment goal be? Look at your membership and think about that 25% number. Trying to get 25% of your membership in lions and tigers really helps you be sustainable as a pack. So recruiting at each school, right? Doing a sign-up event at each school. I know that I'm probably looking at several packs in the room and online that are pulling from more than one school, right? If you're pulling from 2, 3, maybe you're trying to cover 4 schools. The reality is you're probably getting most of your membership from one school, right? And then maybe you're getting a little bit more from the second school. And then if you're lucky, you're picking up a family or 2 from the other 2 or 3 schools that you're pulling from. I mean, that's just my experience. And I'm seeing some shaking of the heads in the room that are kind of confirming that, right? So holding a recruitment at each school is important. That's the way we kind of break that cycle, right? That or starting new packs at new schools, right? So take a look at these templates and we'll talk about them a little bit later about how do we get to that model where, yeah, we're holding a recruitment at this school and then a week later we're holding a recruitment at this school. And, we and our membership team are here to support you in that. So a couple of things I want to mention about our sign-up nights, right? So everything we've done has worked up to this moment, right? This is very important. We've been at community events, we've been building that invite list, we've gotten flyers out, we've done Cub chats, we've done everything that we can. It all leads up to this night, right? So it's extremely important that we try to execute this night as good as possible. So a couple of tips that I want to mention. Some of this might sound, a little, I don't know what the right word is I'm looking for, but basic, I guess. But I think it's important to talk about, right? Good first impression, always important, right? A good first impression. So trying to make sure that you've got enough people at your sign-up night to make a good first impression, right? If it's just you and somebody else and you're a little frazzled or you're trying to work around, right? Not a good first impression, right? So make sure that are trying to rely on your den leaders and the other volunteers and just parents that are already in your pack to help out, right? Have a greeter, have a couple of greeters. If you're in the back corner of the school, right? Have a couple of people to help them get to the right place, right? Sometimes I've tried to show up to a recruitment for a pack I've been helping and have been kind of lost and had to search around and open doors or go to door 43 around the school or whatever it happens to be. So make a good first impression. Make sure you've got some signage out front to help people know, yeah, I'm in the right spot. I'm parking in a parking lot. I see a yard sign that says Cub Scouts. I'm in the right spot. That's great. I see somebody standing at the door. Oh, I guess we go there, right? They're pointing me down the hall. This is great, right? Those little things make a big difference for families that are coming out, 7 o'clock on a random Thursday night. It's in the fall, so it's starting to get dark a little bit. Those things make a big difference for them. So making a good first impression is extremely important. Another one I want to mention is don't get stuck in the weeds at the recruitment, right? The recruitment is all about recruiting kids, right? Kids are kind of easy to get excited and recruit, right? We know we need to sell the program to the parents, right? They're the ones that are going to write the check. But don't get stuck in the weeds. That's for the parent orientation, which we're going to talk about in another step later on. 2 different events. I know that it can be easy to try and combine those sometimes, but your recruitment should not be the place where we're spending 10 minutes talking about our pack budget and, they need to sell $400 in popcorn and that kind of stuff. You're going to mention that stuff, but that's not the pitch that night, right? That night is all about, we're having fun and we want you to come along, right? And the cost is X, right? And there's a way to pay for that cost or whatever, right? But it's all about signing up, right? When I go to sign my kid up for baseball, I'm in and out in 20 minutes, right? We need to kind of be that part of that model. Don't get stuck in the weeds of explaining every rank, right? Or we were founded in 1910, and that's all great. I love that stuff. I love scouting, right? But to a new family, they're not in that yet, right? We hope that they grow into that just like you guys, right? You guys are invested in the program. You guys came out. You want your packs to be successful. We hope that we find those families at our recruitments, but we're not going to find them by unloading our 120-year history on them that night, right? We want them to have a fun time, come on out, sign up. We'll get to the details later, right? So don't get stuck in the weeds at your recruitment. And with that, don't recruit leaders. Don't recruit leaders at your recruitment. It's about recruiting the kids, right? Now, in the recruitment box, which when you fill out that very important QR code that tells us when your recruitment stuff is, this is also what you get from us, right? Some supplies for your recruitment night. Anybody remember these? All right, people like these. We've got these again. These are our Bobcat kits. Every kid that signs up, you should give them this, right? It's a fun way to just get them started right away. If you're not familiar with these, they were new last year. In here, we've got our Bobcat program. They've got their badge right there. Some packs took the badge off. If you want to do that, that's okay. And then you can present it at the meeting that they come to, right? But remember, this is a family program. So what better way to start off by giving them this packet and saying, why don't you start doing this with your kid? It's all in there. We've got the popsicle sticks to learn the Scout Oath, I think was that activity. We've got index cards to learn the Scout Law. We've got the Youth Protection booklet, so the parents can look at that. We know that's in the handbook in here, right? So they can start right away that night. If that kid is super excited and had fun, start tonight. I'm gonna do this. Do it tomorrow morning. So make sure that every kid walks away with one of those. And then the point I was making earlier, the family talent survey. This is a really important piece for you to use at your recruitment, right? This is how you avoid not recruiting the leader that night, but you find the people that can help, right? You're asking these general questions about what they can do, right? What they can do to help your path. And then you can collect these and you can look at them, right? And then you can start making personal asks to people, right? Either at your parent orientation, at the next meeting, or by calling them, right? Making those personal asks. Hey, I saw that you're really into X hobby, right? Or I saw that you're really into this. Would you help us? We have a Pinewood Derby and we could with the wood cutting, right? This is a great tool for that. So also in the box, we've got the youth applications, right? We've got Spanish and English ones as well. A sign-in sheet, right? Again, you probably have a lot of their contact information, but you want to know who came, right? You hopefully will get some new people that just saw the flyer, not necessarily people that you've made a connection with from the other events that we've talked about earlier. So all of that stuff comes in something similar to this box. So again, filling out that QR code is important to get you the resources that I talked about earlier, gets the ad on our social media platforms, and then it also will help us get you this as well. So most families, I believe, are ready to join when they come to a recruitment, right? They might have some questions, right? They might see, the cost or other things that, might give them a hesitation, but most families, if they put it on their calendar, they drag their family away from their normal routine to come out on a Thursday night, most of them are probably going to join, but they have to be asked. And that's a very crucial part of signing them up, part of your recruitment, right? And sometimes part that we just kind of miss sometimes, right? It can be hard sometimes to ask people to join something, all right? But we have to make that really specific ask to each person that comes, right? Whether it's in the group setting, if that's how we're doing it, or individually with people, right? But each person needs to be asked, here's the application, right? Fill this out so that you can join the pack, right? It's got to be asked. It can't be, here's the application, and if you're interested, bring it back to the next meeting, right? They've already come once, right? Odds are in that situation, they may not come back. Now, if they aren't ready to write the check or something like that, I say, fill out the application. That way I have your contact information, right? I know what grade your kid is in so that we can start planning for our dens, right? Give them a reason to fill out that application. Even if they are a little hesitant or there's some obstacle where they're just kind of like, oh, I came here, my husband had to work tonight, right? All kinds of situations, right? Try to get them to fill out that application, because if they are much more likely to join. They feel like they've made a commitment. Even if they didn't pay you, right, whatever it happens to be, they still feel like, well, I filled it out, right? They get a call from you 2 days later, an email, whatever it happens to be, right? They've made a connection now. They've made at least a half commitment. They're probably going to show up if you invite them to the next meeting and give them the information. So at all possibility, have everybody turn in that application. And again, that'll help you in your planning, right? You'll get the information on that application, what grade they're in, what school, maybe you're pulling from a couple of different schools and they didn't write that down in that sign-in sheet when they came to the thing, but they wrote it on their application. It'll give you some of that information so that you can kind of plan and move forward as well. But they have to be asked. Sometimes that's the part that we skip over, but I mean, every time I go to sign my kid up for some other program, they never hesitate to ask and to say, well, you got to pay right now or they're not on the team, right? So let's not be afraid of that. I know it can be scary sometimes. I know we don't want to seem pushy or, we didn't join Scouts to be salesmen, but make sure you make that ask. And I always tell the packs that I visit or go to, I'm happy to do that for you. If you're uncomfortable doing that, or you just don't want to do it, the professional staff will do that. We will make that ask then, all right? You sell all the fun, and then I'll stand up for 5 minutes. I'll compliment you to the heaven and say, all right, everybody, pull out the application. Doesn't this look like fun? These are great leaders. Let's sign up. So if you have any trepidation about that whatsoever, lean on professional staff, lean on people like Corey, Jay, our membership team. They'll be happy to help with that part.